Welcome to today's presentation on Android vulnerabilities. In this session, we will explore the world of Android security and delve into the potential risks and vulnerabilities that can impact this popular mobile operating system. As Android continues to dominate the smartphone market, it becomes crucial to understand the security challenges it faces. Our presentation covers the introduction of Android and its vulnerabilities. We also cover major vulnerabilities faced by Android in its lifetime and then delve further into major Android 13 vulnerabilities with some code demonstration. As you may have heard, prevention is better than cure. Keeping that in mind, we provide some suggestions to users to protect themselves against these vulnerabilities. But there are some who do not follow this principle, thus we have also provided some cure in case your device gets compromised. We hope you like this presentation. Let's begin. We will understand why we chose Android as our focus. Android is the most popular mobile operating system in the world, with over 2 billion active devices. Unfortunately, popularity does not make it immune to vulnerabilities. In fact, a staggering 82% of Android devices were found to be susceptible to at least 1 out of 25 identified vulnerabilities. Now, let's discuss our goals for this presentation. Our goal today is to raise awareness about these vulnerabilities, discuss their types and demonstrate how they can be exploited, and provide essential steps to protect ourselves from potential attacks. By understanding these vulnerabilities and their potential impact, we aim to empower you with actionable steps to enhance the security of your Android devices. Together, we can raise the bar for mobile security and safeguard our personal information. Android vulnerabilities. An Android vulnerability refers to a security flaw or weakness in the Android operating system, OS, that can be exploited by attackers to gain unauthorized access, manipulate data, or compromise the device's functionality. These vulnerabilities can exist in various components of the Android OS, including the kernel, system libraries, device drivers, and applications. Android vulnerabilities can arise due to programming errors, design flaws, or weaknesses in the underlying software or hardware. They can be categorized into different types, such as remote code execution. This type of vulnerability enables an attacker to execute arbitrary code on a device remotely, without any user interaction. This can lead to the installation of malicious software or the execution of unauthorized commands. Privilege escalation. These vulnerabilities allow an attacker to elevate their privileges on the device, gaining access to sensitive resources or performing actions restricted to higher privileged users. Information disclosure. These vulnerabilities expose sensitive data, such as passwords, personal information, or encryption keys, to unauthorized parties. Denial of service. DOS vulnerabilities can be exploited to overwhelm a device or network with excessive requests, causing it to become unresponsive or crash. Man-in-the-middle, MITM, attacks. MITM vulnerabilities allow attackers to intercept and manipulate data transmitted between a device and a server, potentially compromising the confidentiality and integrity of the communication. These vulnerabilities can be a serious security risk to Android users. It is important to keep your Android device up to date with the latest security patches and to be careful about what apps you install on your device. Most critical Android 13 vulnerabilities. Generally, remote code execution, RCE, and elevation of privilege, EOP, are the most critical vulnerability types in terms of potential impact and severity. Let us look at an RCE-type vulnerability in Android 13. In the recently released March security patch for Android, Google has fixed a total of 60 flaws, out of which 31 fixes are for core Android components like Framework, System, and Google Play. CVE 2023-20951 in the System component stands out because of its potential when exploited to do severe damage. The National Institute of Standards and Technology, NIST, has assigned a base score of 9.8, indicating its severity to be critical. Source: National Vulnerability Database, NVD. The vulnerability, categorized as CWE787, out-of-bounds write that is caused by an out-of-bounds write, that is data is written beyond memory boundaries of the buffer. It results in memory corruption. This may include issues such as incorrect pointer arithmetic, accessing invalid pointers due to incomplete initialization or memory release, etc. Scope, results in loss of integrity and availability. Technical impact, modify memory, DOS, crash, exit, or restart, execute unauthorized code or commands. It affects Android 13 and earlier versions. Let's look at the source code of the system component where this bug exists. Before fixing it, as you can see, there is no lower bound check on the len variable that is passed. Hence, if len is less than 4, the value of len can be changed to a negative value. Since the third parameter of memcpy assumes this value is unsigned, it will interpret it as maxint1, resulting in copying far more data than is likely available to the destination buffer. This causes an out-of-bounds write, which can be exploited to achieve remote code execution. Here's a simple code demonstration illustrating this weakness. The following code attempts to save 4 different identification numbers into an array. Since the array is only allocated to hold 3 elements, the valid indices are 0 to 2, so the assignment to ID sequence 3 is out of bounds. Some simple tips to protect your device from this vulnerability. Update your device to the latest version of Android. Only connect to Bluetooth devices that you trust. Be careful what apps you install. Use a firewall and antivirus software. Now let us look at a vulnerability of type EOP, escalation of previous silage. CVE 2022-20254 is a high-severity security vulnerability in the Wi-Fi implementation of Android, with a base score of 8.8 according to the NIST and the NVD. This vulnerability falls under CWE 269, improper privilege management, caused by a permissions bypass in the Wi-Fi stack. Attackers can exploit this vulnerability to bypass security measures and permissions in the Wi-Fi stack, gaining unauthorized access and elevated privileges. This can lead to unauthorized access to sensitive network information and the execution of malicious actions. As the Wi-Fi stack manages wireless network connections, a permissions bypass in it poses significant security risks. The mode of introduction of this vulnerability is basically because of weakness caused during implementation of architectural security tactics. Scope, access control issue arises because of this vulnerability. Technical impact, gain privileges or assume identity. Mitigating this vulnerability requires implementing proper privilege management, including access controls. It affects Android 13 and earlier versions. Here's a simple code demonstration illustrating the weakness. In the given code, the run method loads a library using system.loadLibrary, AWT, without verifying the legitimacy or safety of the library. This could be potentially dangerous if an attacker can manipulate the library loading process and inject malicious code. Some simple tips to protect your device from this vulnerability. Keep your Wi-Fi stack up to date and ensure that you have the latest firmware or software updates installed for your Wi-Fi enabled devices. Use strong and unique passwords. Enable encryption. Be cautious with public Wi-Fi. Measures to protect Android devices from vulnerabilities. Set secure password. A strong password helps to keep personal safety. Protect your emails, files, and other content. Keep your device's operating system up to date. Always check for updates. Keep your Android in updated version. Updates can prevent security issues and improve compatibility and programmed features. Don't jailbreak or root your phone. Jailbreaking can remove software restrictions that are intentionally put in place by the device manufacturer. It weakens your device's built-in security features. Be cautious with app permission. While we install any app in Android, it always asks permission to agree to use. Grant permissions wisely. Check app reviews and ratings. Beware of untrusted sources. Review app permission changes. Enable app and device encryption. It helps you protect your data by encrypting it so that it can only be accessed with the correct decryption key. After enabling device encryption, your data will be protected even if someone gains unauthorized physical access to your device. Connect to secure Wi-Fi. Ensure your Android device connects to secure Wi-Fi networks for data protection. Verify network encryption, WPA2 or WPA3, and credentials before connecting. This reduces the risk of unauthorized access, data interception, and privacy breaches. Install antivirus software. It can provide an additional layer of protection against various types of malware and security vulnerabilities. Stay cautious of phishing attacks. Phishing attacks are a common threat in the digital landscape. Be cautious of suspicious messages or emails from unknown sources. Avoid clicking on suspicious links. Pay attention to website security before entering personal information. Install security software to detect and block phishing attempts. Steps to be taken if an Android device has been compromised. 1. If you suspect that your Android device has been compromised, it is important to disconnect it from the internet immediately. This will help to prevent the attacker from further exploiting the vulnerability and stealing your data. 2. Remove any suspicious apps that you have installed. These apps may be used by the attacker to steal your data or to control your device. If you are unable to uninstall the app, you can try to disable it. 3. Back up your data and then factory reset your device. This will help to remove any malware or other malicious software that may have been installed on your device. You can back up your data using cloud storage services, such as Google Drive, or use a USB driver. 4. Two-factor authentication, 2FA, is an extra layer of security that can be added to your Android device. It requires you to enter a code from your phone in addition to your password when you sign into your account. This helps to protect your account from being hacked, even if your password is stolen. 5. When using an Android device, it is important to be cautious of unknown sources. This means that you should only install apps from trusted sources, such as the Google Play Store. Installing apps from unknown sources can be risky, as they may contain malware or other malicious software. 6. Installing a reputable antivirus app is a good way to protect your Android device from malware and other malicious software. There are many different antivirus apps available, so it is important to choose one that is reputable and has a good reputation for detecting and removing malware. Here are the references from which the data has been obtained. We hope you find this research presentation informative. It is important to keep your Android device up to date with the latest security patches to mitigate these vulnerabilities. We believe that this research presentation will help to improve the security of Android devices and make them less vulnerable to attack. Thank you.